What's up YouTube? This is Brandon here with Creations Reef and doing an unboxing and review here of my order online that I placed with LiveAquaria.com. This order was fish only, so just going to be walking you guys through the process that I do when I get new arrivals, quarantining them, and going through that whole process. So upon receiving your order, they do have acclimation instructions in the box. They do have the heater inside there that you can check. The heater was still warm. So first thing I do, I just kind of visually inspect everything, mainly just making sure everything is alive. But as far as the first thing I got was a purple Pseudochromis. Very nice fish. I always love the colors on them, although they do seem to be aggressive at times, but plenty of space for that little guy. Also got one of my favorite fish, a Midas Blenny, and this was a pretty good size one. But I love the character of these fish. They're awesome. And of course, my kids decide that they want to be nosy and see what's going on. They see some new fish going on, so they had to come inspect it and check it out themselves. And this fish that I got here was the Leopard Wrasse. Very beautiful, nice fish, so looking forward to this guy. And it was a decent size, what I expected. And the next fish that I got, this was a Tomini Tang, or bristletooth, however you say that. This was a small guy that I got. It was on sale. It was in the tiny category, so he's pretty small, so he'll grow over time. Hopefully he doesn't get bullied by the other tangs too much. And then I also got a green wrasse. And I remember first seeing this thing on CJ's aquarium, and I just loved how the green popped in his tank, so definitely drew me to get this guy as well. And then I got a Sailfin Tang, and I was actually happy with the size of this. It was considered the medium category. And when it's fully opened up and all that, it's a really relatively good size fish, so definitely happy with the size comparison from what they sent from what was online. And then last but not least, the big guy, I got a Naso Tang, and man, they sure did. This is considered the medium large category. But man, the packaging for this guy, boy, it was huge. Boy, it took some serious work to get this thing open. So as you guys can see, I did pour some water from every one of the bags into this bucket here, and I have all the fish in there. They all arrived alive, which I was very happy about. All moving around, all look really healthy. Happy with the size, so just gonna get on to the acclimation process. And the acclimation process that I use is the drip acclimation. I really like this. The one that I specifically have has a hook on there that you hook into the tank, and then a nozzle to where you can adjust the drip rate, and that seems to work out really well for me. So one thing I also do is I also like to check the levels in my tank prior to adding the specimens in there, just to make sure everything's on point and no surprises going on. So that all checked out. Like I said, all the levels were adequate, so started the drip acclimation process and testing these guys, just getting these guys going, continue monitoring them, making sure that they're getting properly acclimated to their new conditions. So another important step that I do in the acclimation process is making sure that the temperatures match between my tank and the water that they are currently in. And being that this was an online order and it did ship, the temperature did drop. So when I put my thermometer in the water, I noticed the temperature was like 74 degrees. I usually run this tank in general around like 78. So the drip acclimation process will raise the temperature, but being that it was 74, I wanted to make sure that got that temperature up in a sufficient amount of time for them. So just a slow, gradual change. So what I did was I actually decided to pull the heater out of my tank and then put that in the bucket so we can raise that temperature for them. So just coming back and checking on these guys, and the temperature has actually rose to 77 now, and continuing to get the drip acclimation process going. So occasionally I just come back and check on the temperature again, check on the fish as it's acclimating, and it's actually gotten up to the correct temperature that I'd like it. So was at 78.1. So that's when I pulled the heater out and put it back in the tank, and then just continued with the drip acclimation process. So now that all the fish have been drip acclimated to the tank, I just remove that, and then comes the step where I'm about to net them out and put them inside the quarantine tank. So the last step in my quarantine slash new arrival process is that I will use a product called Chem Stability, and I'll make sure I add that. And that's just a nitrifying bacteria product to help with any ammonia spikes or when adding new arrivals to a tank. So that'll do it for this unboxing review of LiveAquaria. With this order, I can say that I was impressed with the specimens that I got. They all arrive alive, and they do have a 14-day guarantee. So I'll continue monitoring them through the quarantine process. Hopefully they all make it out. They're healthy, and then they get transferred over to the display tank. But thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe.